Hello everyone! Recently we have installed Qlik Sense server in our environment, in our company. And well, the installation process was quite easy, and I will not go through all that process. I don't know if you can see Qlik Sense icons already on my server. So there is a very good video from Qlik team which we made about the installation. I'll leave the links in the description. You can find them. You can watch it, and we have many details covered there. I will not go through the installation process as it's really easy and not so complicated. The thing that was complicated for me was installation of the certificate, secure certificate, or making it working through HTTP protocol. It was not so easy as the manuals showed. So in this video, I'm gonna show you how to make your Qlik Sense environment work through a secure certificate, or how to install a certificate properly. First, what you have to do, you have to make sure that the URL you'll be using to access your Qlik Sense portal has some kind of access to the outer world. In our case, we have a server which will be used only for the internal use, and I didn't want it to make accessible to the people through the internet. So what I had to do, I had to make the domain like com, like let's say analytics.com, and something like qlik.analytics.com. Let's say it, for example. So I have to make one of the subdomains accessible, like change some DNS IP addresses and make it that the normal URL would access my internal Qlik Sense server, which is still available, accessible by typing qlik.local. If you order the certificate with any other URL, like your local URL, it can be, for example, qlik.sense.local. That can be a local URL. It's not com, not anything but local, let's say, and usually, or just IP address, and usually it's accessible only in local network, because, well, it's a local network. So when ordering SSL certificate, you have to make sure that you have ordered a certificate for some kind of com, net, org, or any other URL that is accessible from the internet. For your server, you can make the URL like that it would not be accessible from the internet, just through the VPN, through the local network, like I said, through the DNS configuration. I will not go through this part as well, because it's more like a network part, and we have a network department in our company, so I had a little bit less trouble while configuring the server. But yeah, as I was looking for information, you have to change some DNS, local DNS server names for that address to open only when you are connected to your company or your local network or through the VPN. Yeah, so make sure about that. Make sure that the certificate opens with the same URL, because if you order certificate, let's say qlik.analytics.com, and your Qlik Sense environment address will be qlik.analytic.local, the browser will still give you the error message that certificate is not trusted, because it opens a different web page. Yeah, that's for sure. Okay, now let's jump into the configuration and let's make it easy. Okay, so first of all, connect to your server where Qlik Sense is installed and run the mmc command. On your, press start button, type the letters mmc, and you will see the console to be opened. Once the console is open, press File, add remove snap-ins, find the one that's called certificates, press add, select computer account, because it's a local computer, press next, leave like local computer like we selected before, don't change anything here, and finish. Once you press finish, press OK, and you will see the certificates on the left side menu. Extend the menu, go to personal, then certificates, and you can see that certificate for the Qlik Sense server is already installed. That's a local certificate that was signed by the Qlik Sense program server itself. So it's not confirmed by the browsers that it's good, and well, everything will work fine, but the browsers will say that it's not secure. That's why we need a normal, proper certificate. To make sure that the certificate will buy on some kind of website will be signed and will have a corresponding key, we have to make a couple of preparation steps in our environment. So press right mouse button on the screen, all tasks, then select advanced operations and create custom request. Press left mouse button, you will see certificate enrollment message. First next. By default, as you can see, it's selected Active Directory Enrollment Policy, but let's select Proceed without enrollment. Click next. On the next screen, leave it as it is. Now certificate information. In here it's very important to add the details about the certificate, because they will be added once we buy the certificate. So extend custom request details, press properties. In general field, type the name of the certificate you would like to have. Description is not necessary, you can leave it empty. After that, go to Subject tab and add details about the certificate. First of all, select common name and type the URL you'll be using to access your Qlik Sense server. This one is one of the most important parts, so please make sure that this is the domain you have set up in your configuration, and this is the domain that's accessible from the internet, from the outer network. Next, add more details that's needed for the certificate. Add your country. Please type the code, international code for the country. It's not necessary to add the whole country name. Then you should add the state, it's the city you are located, or your server is located. After that, locality, so you can type the city name again in here. And organization. Here your organization name should appear. The details are visible on the right side. These are the main details, the most important details that are needed for the certificate. After all details are added, you should go to Private Key tab and extend Cryptographic Service Provider. The most common certificate type is RSA, so we can leave it like that. It's all good to have this one selected. Of course, if you want something more complicated, you can try to use with other protocols, but in this case, we're going to leave RSA, the first one. The first option, Microsoft Software Key Storage Provider. Next, let's extend key options and make sure that you have selected 2048. Key size is very important in this case, because if you leave 1028, most browsers will not think that this is a good certificate and will still show you a message that certificate, well, actually not certificate, that site is not trusted. Make private key exportable is additional option. You can mark it or you can leave it unchecked. It's up to you. If you think that you might want to export the private key, you can select it. But in general, we won't need that option. Press OK. Press Next. Now we're gonna have to export the file, and the data of this file will be used for the generation of a certificate. So press Browse, find the place where you would want to export the certificate, type the name, and click Save. Of course, make sure the format is left base 64 and click Finish. Now if you go to the place we have saved the certificate, we can see there is a file, text file with the data. Press right mouse button, press Open With, and select Notepad if your server is freshly installed like mine and it does not have any other fancy programs, which is not recommended to have on the server like this. So we have a certificate request data. Let's copy this data and let's go to the site we are gonna buy the certificate from. So in my case, I'm gonna use GoGet SSL website, which has, well, quite a good prices, I would say, and can give you 4 years for the certificate time, which is very handy because we don't want to come back and configure the server again and again every year, or every, well, 2 years is better time, but yeah, every year it's not the best option. So my examples are gonna be with this website. So in my case, I already ordered the certificate with another URL. Well, I was thinking I could trick the system, but unfortunately I was not able to do that. So in here I already have a certificate, but we can reissue the certificate and solve the problem quite easily. So if we go to SSL certificates, we can see the certificate we have ordered before. Let's press View and we can see the details. What we're gonna do, we can press Reissue SSL and we'll get a new certificate. So one of the most important things is to paste your CSR code we have created. That certificate could be generated. Press Validate. If your code is good, it will be validated and everything should be okay. Next, we're gonna select validation method, and for this case we're gonna use DNS because no files are accessible on our server, which, well, all the data is accessible locally, and the DNS, the domain, it's quite easy. We'll just add one line of the data and that's all, and it will be validated. Let's go to the next step, and the request was successfully sent. Let's press on Install DNS CNAME on the right side, and we can see the details in here. To get the CNAME we're gonna use, we have to press on Domain Validation tab or the link in the notification message. So we have our domain we have typed while setting up the CSR data, and we're gonna have to copy the information from here. Also, make sure that you won't copy everything like I just did. For the correct data, select the first part which ends near the CNAME, because CNAME is the type you're gonna select in your DNS, in your domain provider. If there are some columns, yours might look different than mine, because, well, different provider has different interfaces, but the first data goes on the first column, CNAME is selectable, and the other part goes to the last, fourth. We're gonna paste it, we're gonna press change, and we'll have to wait a couple of minutes because DNS servers, well, they take some time to be changed. It might depend on the SSL certificate provider, but in my case I got the email once the verification was completed, and the certificate was attached to the email. So it's really handy, as I just need to save the attachment and copy paste it to the server. Once you have copied the certificate to your server, go back to console, press right mouse button on the certificates on the left menu, select all tasks and import. Yeah, let's leave the local machine. On the next window, let's press browse and select the certificate we just copied to our server. Press next. For the store, leave the personal. Our Qlik Sense certificate is located in the personal folder, so the best way is to leave it in the same folder. Press next and you will see the details. Usually everything is fine. Press finish and you'll get a message that certificate was imported. So another thing, if you did everything right, you will be able to see the little key icon on the certificate, which will, well, if you double click on the certificate, will indicate that you have a private key that corresponds to the certificate. And that is very important, because if you won't have a private key, the browser or the Qlik Sense might not work as it's supposed. We're gonna go to the details of the certificate, find the thumbprint and copy the code. Then go to your Qlik Sense server environment through the local URL, go to proxies menu. Once proxies menu is open, press on the central proxy and press on edit it. Let's go to security tab and paste the thumbprint you have copied before. Now in here there is one important thing that you might want to know. If you just copied all the certificate like Ctrl+A, Ctrl+C, there is one hidden, there is one hidden symbol at the beginning of the code, and Qlik Sense might not like it. So if you copy the certificate like this, go to the beginning and you will see that if you go between the arrows right and left, that the marker is kinda in the same place. So what you have to do, you have to delete that hidden marker, because yeah, the thumbprint will not work. Also, you might need to delete the gaps. In my case, everything was fine. I didn't need to delete the gaps, but while looking for many solutions before and troubleshooting, I noticed that, well, not noticed, I find the information that for some users that helped deleting the gaps between the letters and digits. Once done, press apply. You will get a message from a server that it needs to restart. If some users are working at that moment, that might not be okay, as everything will restart and we will have to log in again, or some data might be lost, so please keep that in mind. After server is restarted, we can check if it's working or not. If you did something wrong, you will get a message. Your connection is not private. That means try again. Go through the process and check if you typed everything correctly. Because, for example, in the URL, even a single letter matters. Also, make sure you copied a new certificate thumbprint or not the old one. You can check what kind of certificate is installed by pressing on the not secure message, at least in Chrome browser, and you will see the details of a certificate. So you can check if it's correct as well. But if you did everything correctly, you will see HTTPS at the beginning of your Qlik Sense environment and no error message. This is what we want. Yep, that's true. Everything is nice and clear, and that annoying error message is gone. Thank you for watching, and I'm really glad that you make it till the end. I hope this was useful, and helped you to configure your Qlik Sense server to work it properly without showing that annoying, unsafe website message. Please subscribe and see you next time. Cheers! Oh yeah, and smash that like button, like this. Not the best option. So my examples are gonna be with this website. Somehow I can trick the system, but unfortunately, again, domain provider you're buying from, but in my not domain, it might depend on the nope, I'm not gonna. No, I'm not gonna do this again. Nope. Again.